Hello, 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 everybody. This is Lisa. Once again, Friday night live. You know, we were still talking about, the stigma of mental health and the issues and dangers surrounding the stigma of mental health. But before I get started, I wanted to talk about I wanted to talk about something else that actually ties into mental health. Um, Like I saw today earlier, I forget where I saw that. It was online, but I forget exactly where I saw that. Um, a female army soldier committed suicide by overdosing behind a sexual assault that happened to her on active duty. And this is near and dear to my heart. And I'm gonna tell you why, because I was her, because it happened to me on active duty. you know. And had I continued down that pathway of of doing drugs, that would have definitely it would have definitely killed me. And at that point in time, I just didn't care. See, and that leads me into what I really wanted to talk about tonight. As we talking about um mental health, I want to talk about, you know, um suicide. Suicide behind your trauma, or suicide behind your mental illness. This is a dangerous thing, people. You know what I'm saying? You stigmatizing people, and you got people that's like very suicidal and not going to ask for help. Um, but this touched my heart. This was near and dear to my heart because I was that woman. You know, I was committing suicide every time I got high. I was taking minutes, hours off my life. Eventually I probably would have had it was hadn't been for divine intervention. Seriously, I would have really killed myself. The drug overdose. And I don't think everybody understands full scope and the depth of that. The military, to me, I always say, it's like a good old boys club. No women allowed. You know, um, they stand up for each other, but they will not stand up for a female, because female shouldn't be there in the first place. Even till this day, they still got that mentality. So I guess in their little twisted mind, well, since they got to be here, well, let's just make their lives a living hell. You know, and they do make it a living hell. They make it a living hell when you violate her, or it could be a him. You know, you do, because at the end of the day, when all is said and done, after your surface, you still have to deal with it. See, that right there is a killer, because you're not going home and suffering. You taking a job well done and patting yourself on the back. Meanwhile, the person that you victimized has to live with what you've done forever. You know. So, like I said, this is tying in to, you know what I wanted to talk about tonight, because, like I said, I really want to touch base, with the suicide thing. When you stigmatize people, you know, they don't want to get help. But there is a subject I do also want to talk about, you know, and it's this whole Britney Spears thing. Shout out to Britney Spears. I really hope that you get what you want, because there's no way in the world you almost 40 years old. If not, there's no way you still have a conservatorship. You've been doing very well. You know, you've been doing your tours, you've been making music, you did your Las Vegas residency, you've been doing really well. So I don't see why your father wouldn't give up on that, you know. But the mere fact is, you can't get married, you can't have kids, and making take birth control pills when you don't want to, because you want to have another child with this man that you want to marry. And it's like, no, and it's like, that's slavery, man. And that's abuse of conservatorship, you know. I just want to touch base a little on that. Prayers up to her. And I really hope that things work out very well for her. Um, Mental health things, y'all, stigmatizing mental health ain't no joke, you know. And like I said, I want to talk about tonight, I really want to talk about, suicide. When you see somebody, you know, in a spot, I mean somebody that you know very well in a spot, you know, and you can see the red flags dinging and dinging all over the place. Um, Step up, step up. And like I said, there are signs. You got anywhere from blaring red flags to really having no flags at all, and when you suffer, let me explain something. When you suffer from mental health, you're trying to find relief. When you get down to suicide, that's because you're trying to find relief. You're trying to stop suffering, you know. And when you got people out there, giving you the side eye or murmuring behind your back, oh, she crazy. She been trying to commit suicide. She needs some help. That's not helping. Not helping. Instead of doing that, why don't you sit down and talk to that person and say, look, you know, maybe you should go and really talk to somebody. Let me make a few phone calls. I know somebody who may know somebody on your behalf. You know, I get it. I get it. I suffer from bipolar and PTSD all the time. So I get not wanting to have to deal with the issue. I get trying to find relief from it, you know. And then some levels I did get relief. I got medication and I do therapy, you know, at least once every 2 to 3 weeks. You know, I've been doing a virtual tour, a virtual therapy group every week, all females, you know. And the thing is, it makes me feel so much better knowing that I have somebody, that I know somebody that has gone through a similar situation. It's like I always said, different situations, same result. And it's the same results, you know. And it feels so nice to know that there's somebody that I can relate to, you know, that we can actually, chop it up and say, well, this is what I've been going through. This is what I've been going through, you know, and it makes you feel better because you're not alone. You're not the only one. And when you in the midst of mental health illness, you feel like you're the only one because people that ousted you, people that turned their backs on you, people that alienated you, so you feel like you're the only one in this world that actually knows or actually feel what you're going through. Because ain't nobody else out there can possibly know the way I feel. Because them people over there across the street, they talking about how crazy I am, you know. And I'm sorry, maybe it's just me, maybe it's just, my age. I'll be 56 next month. I know I don't look it, but I will be 50. I said 5'6", 5, 5'6", 56. And I believe I'm at the time of my life. I ain't got time for the bull. I don't have time for it. And I could care less what you think. Because at the end of the day, you're not taking care of me. I got to take care of me. You're not loving me. I'm loving myself. Because in the end, that's all that matters. But when you're in the midst of mental illness, you don't see it that way. You really don't. And it's a struggle. It's a fight. And it's an ongoing fight that happens every day, all day. And a lot of people don't understand that. And this is what we need. This is what I'm trying to get people to understand. Mental health is not a contagion. You're not going to get it by coughing and sneezing on somebody. There's a chemical imbalance in the brain, and that's beyond anybody's control unless you're a neurosurgeon and you can do brain surgery on yourself, which possibly impossible. You know, this is hard. It's so hard to live with mental illness now. You know, and I get where it comes from. And when you come up from like the age, the year I came up, I was born in '65. Okay, so I came up in a time where, you know, what's done in the house, stay in the house, and we don't talk about it, and that's the old school I come from. We just don't talk about our problem. We hold it, you know, but it's not healthy. Today we know this is not a healthy thing because I was the type of person that I would hold on to my stuff, and I would hold it and hold it and hold and just hold it. And then eventually something so small will happen. And it's like a C4 just went off. I just explode everywhere. You know, since I've been in therapy, I'm learning how not to do that because with my mental illness, and then with that, that's just compounding the problem. You know, because I'm not just holding in what's bothering me, I'm also holding in that mental illness as well. So when I do explode, everything is coming out, you know. So I learned, not to do that. Whatever's going on with me, I need to talk about it, or if not talk about it, journal. You know, journal, journal about it. You know, get it out your system. Don't hold on to it. Don't let it fester. Because if you let it fester, it's only going to hurt you in the end. You know, and so, you know, I'm at this point in my life, right? I don't give a damn what other people think because it is what it is. You're not helping me. You're not taking care of me. I'm taking care of me. So whatever you saying over there, I don't care. You could call me whatever you want to, but at the end of the day, I'm getting help. I'm on medication. I'm going through therapy, you know? So I could care less what you saying. No, as a matter of fact, don't you have some business instead of worrying about my business? You know, that's my whole attitude towards everything. Now, you know, the older I get, you know, it's like I don't care anymore. You know, I take medicine, I go to therapy. I don't care what anybody thinks, you know, because at the end of the day, eventually, you know, I haven't had, you know, a relationship with a man in like 2015, maybe 2014, 2015. You know, this is 2021, you know, and I'm good with that. You know why? Because I needed to take time off to deal with me and my stuff, you know. I needed to take the, you know, because every time I get in a relationship and and we break up, I always wind up feeling like I'm broken. I always wind up feeling like um like I'm broken, you know. I don't want to feel that no more because I turn everything inwards, you know, that this was all me, you know. Of course, my husband, my ex-husband, I'm gonna I'm gonna have to say, yeah, that was me. That was me, you know. But when you're dealing with a female that's been raped and sexually assaulted, and I don't think he had got the full scope of what that entailed. I don't even think I got the full scope of what that entailed. You know, he thought I was cheating. You know, I wasn't cheating. I just didn't want to be touched. And that happens when you're the victim of a sexual assault or rape. You know, you just don't want to be touched. You know, and and there's different ways. You know, people handle it different ways. Some people are promiscuous, and I ain't gonna lie, I was one of those. If I had a different man every night, I had a different man every night, and you know, when I look back on it now, I'm like, well, how is it that I can have a a booty call every night of the week with different men? Mind you, I'm in the military at this point. I can have all these different booty calls with different men, but when it came down to me actually settling down, it's like, mm, nope, nope, ain't working for me. You know, so that one, I'm gonna take the L on because that was me. You know, I always told people that he was a cheat, because he did. He wound up cheating on me, but you know, I always put it off on him, and that's not fair to him because it was not him; it was me. You know, um, I'm owning my stuff now. Um, that's not fair. That's not fair to him because he had to deal with the residuals of what I had been through. Now, had I not gone through what I went through, we might have still been, we might even probably still be married to this day, you know. But the sad situation is I did go through it and I have to deal with it, you know. So, like, every time I got into a relationship, I always felt like I was broke. I always felt like I was broke, you know, because like I'm an internalizer. I internalize everything, you know, and I always felt like I was broke, you know, and I'm tired of feeling that way, you know. So no, I'm not in a relationship now. I haven't been in a relationship for 6 years, and you know what? I'm fine with it. You know what? I'm starting to take care of myself. You know, I'm taking care of what I need to take care of. Eventually, I would like to have a beautiful relationship, but I can't do that until I'm ready, until I'm better. You know, now will I be 100% better? No, because the trauma, the sexual assault, and the rape is always going to be with me. But the thing about therapy is that I am getting the tools I need. So whenever I find myself in a dark place, like being depressed or something like that, I got the tools. You know, I could sit down and write it out in the journal and say, okay, this is what I'm feeling. You know, this is what I'm going through today. You know, and work through it. You know, this is not easy, and don't nobody like to be alone. I know, I get that. You know, I used to be one of them people. You know, but I've been home for 6 years, and you know what? I'm enjoying it actually. You know, I do enjoy the peace and quiet. You know, but I don't enjoy, you know, not having a special person there in my life. You know, and I'm a firm believer in time, it'll come. But right now, I can't worry about that. I have to worry about me. I have to take care of me. I have to love me. I have to take care of my issues so that whenever I get into a relationship, I can stop feeling like I'm broke. You know, at this point, I want to be. I'm not even a victim anymore. I'm a survivor. You know, because I done strapped on my boots and I'm like, come on, mental illness, we get ready to fight. We getting ready to duke it out. You know, because I'm tired of feeling that way. You know, and I'm not going to let nobody dictate to me, you know, or how I should feel or what I should do, or because of what I'm going through don't fit into a nice, neat box with a bow on it. You know, the scary part is a lot of times we feel what we don't understand, and a lot of people don't understand mental illness, and that's dangerous. You know, that's dangerous for the person that's suffering from it because they're not getting help. You know, they're not getting help because they're too scared of what you might say or what you might think. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what anybody thinks. It's what you know and what you plan to do about it. Take everybody else out of the equation for a minute and just, you know, take a deep breath, woosah, meditate, you know, and take care of you. Because you can't take care of nobody else if you don't take care of yourself. And you can't expect nobody else to take care of you if you're not taking care of you. And I see that a lot. People expecting their partner to take care of them, but they can't take care of that. They can't take care of you because you're not taking care of you. And this is where the imbalance comes in because you're expecting this person to take care of you, you know, but you're not taking care of you. So for me, I have to take care of me, and I give two rats. That's what anybody say, and I get that a lot of people aren't there, the ones that suffering. I know they're not there, but I'm here to tell you that you're not alone. You are so not alone. You know, a lot of us go through it, but a lot of us don't talk about it either. You know, it's like mum's the word. It's like mental illness is a dirty little secret. That's the way I look at it. You know, People think that mental illness is a dirty little secret. And it's not a dirty little secret. It's not like one morning we woke up and said, "Oh, you know what? Today I think I'm gonna be bipolar." But you know what? I think I want to be schizophrenic today. You know, nobody does that. Just like nobody goes, you know what? I think I'm gonna just be a drug dealer. Or at 6 years old say, I think I'm gonna be a heroin user. Don't nobody do that because that's not what you're thinking about. It's unfortunate it turns out that way, but you don't wake up one morning and decide, oh, I'm gonna be a drug dealer. Oh, I'm gonna be a drug user. You know, and I do want to get into you know drug use too, because drug use and mental health illness go hand in hand. I know firsthand. Okay, I I started out with sniffing cocaine. I was sniffing cocaine when my mom was dying in the hospital in '88. You know, to alleviate that pain that I never want to feel. You know, for me to turn around a week later to get raped by somebody I thought was a friend. Of course, when I went in the military, all of that stopped. You know, I was going to wreck my career by doing drugs. Stupid. So before I went in, I made sure I stopped all that. Of course, I drank though. I cross addicted. And those of y'all who don't know what cross addiction is, let me explain what cross addiction is. Cross addiction is when, say, you have a heroin addiction, right? But you stop using. So now where does that go? Now you're putting it somewhere else, like shopping or gambling. See, that's a cross addiction. You got rid of one addiction now to have another addiction because all you did was cross it, because you needed something to fill that void after the first addiction was gone. You needed something to fill that void, and now you got another addiction, you know. Um, so then when I got out of the military, I met some people that got me hooked. Well, I'm hooked, but not hooked because first of all, crack wasn't my thing. Sniffing cocaine was my thing. And honestly, I only did it for 4 months, but I can tell you, I really didn't care for it. But I did it because I couldn't get my hands on any powder coat. But my rock bottom with that was when somebody sold me to somebody else so that they can get ahead. And I tell you what, once I learned that, I beat feet. I found a church that took in homeless people. And there I stayed. I got clean off of crack cocaine, not to look back, not to look back. You know, I just didn't like the feeling and I didn't like the after effect. You know, we call it tweak. A lot of times when you hear people say tweak, that just usually means like in reference to a crack user. If you hear the word tweak, the main thing is they'll put a rock on the pipe and go to smoke it, and then they think they dropped it. So now they on the floor, hands and knees, looking for something ain't there because you smoked it. See, that's what we call a tweak that's what they call a tweak in the crack room. Or you get paranoid that you're peeping out the vines talking about the police is watching you. And the crack world, they call that a tweak, you know. Now, those are funny tweaks, but there's deadly tweaks too. Because I knew somebody who could take a head of crack and just start pulling out a gun and shooting up everything, so it can be deadly, you know. I mean, I've never seen him do it, but he's told stories, you know, and I'm like, mm-mm, mm-mm. See, I don't like a drug that would take me that far out of my, not even my element, that would just do that, really change my personality and character, you know. Um, and with sniffing cocaine, it doesn't do that. I've never had that issue, you know. But of course, sniffing cocaine is actually what brought me to deal with my issues because one night I was sniffing and I was staying with my cousin, I was sniffing, and then I just automatically had a mental breakdown. I had a mental breakdown. And I couldn't stop crying to save my life. But eventually I was able to lay my head down and go to sleep. Because I know my cousin, she was at work, she was telling me, lay your head down, get some sleep. We'll deal with it when I get home. And we did. She got home and she took me up to the VA and I checked myself into the psych ward at the VA, you know, and that started my path, to having to deal with my issues, because that could have been so much worse. That could have been really so much worse than it was. And I'm glad it wasn't, you know. I'm so glad it wasn't. Um, but like I said, that just I mean, and when I got out, I was still dibbling, dabbling a little bit. I ain't even gonna lie. I still was, but then there was a situation with a guy that I was dating. I was living with him, and I was at the VA. I was doing my counseling and my groups. And he always had an issue because in the building, in the VA, there's a certain spot in the VA building where it's a drop zone. You know, you get your drop calls. You know, so it's like one day I was talking to him, and I told him I was coming up into this building. This is drop zone. You know, and the call dropped. And we're just yelling and screaming at each other because he's accusing me of hanging up on him. And I'm like, I didn't hang up on you. I told you this is a drop zone. This is a drop zone. You come up here too. You've been up here, this is a drop zone. You know. And I noticed with him I was dibbling in that, you know. And I knew at that point something had to give, because I can't keep doing this. So he was already on probation. So when I came home, as the cab pulled up to the block, I noticed he's at the corner waiting. So I'm sitting there going, okay, this is not going to be good because he never waits for me, outside ever. So I knew at that point it was not going to be good. And then when we got upstairs and I saw the empty beer cans, and there was a lot of them, I'm like, oh, okay, this is really not. I said, this really is not going to be good at all. So I'm not going to be good. I already knew it when I saw him standing downstairs. But when I got upstairs and saw the empty cans of beer, I was like, I knew at that point it was not going to be good at all. You know, so we got into a heated argument. He literally poked me in my face with his finger, and then when everything died down, went to sleep. I got up the next morning, went to counseling, and that was the last time he saw me because I kept going. I didn't go back. You only got one time to put your hands on me. I could care less if it's just a little nudge. You don't put your hands on me. And he just don't know. I had my phone in my hand. All I had to do was call 911 and they'd have violated you back to prison, dude. So I wound up going to rehab in upstate New York, and I stayed there for 8.5 months. And that's when I got really clean and sober. In 2011, I got clean and sober, not to look back. But then I said to myself, okay, I don't want to go back because I have too much to lose. I worked too hard to get, where I was, but I want to go further, so So what do I do? Well, we're going to have to address the issues at hand. See, because I'm a firm believer, people don't use just to be using. People use to numb whatever it is that they've been through, especially when you're dealing with hardcore drugs like crack and heroin and meth. You got some deep-seated issues that need to be addressed, you know. But instead of dealing with it, you rather go use. And I understand that. I was like that. I understand that wholeheartedly, you know. But there came a point in my life where I was like, you know what? I have to deal with this because now it's up front in my face and I have to deal with it. And what people don't realize is that when you suffer something traumatic, and you push it down, I mean, and even to using drugs, okay, you're good for the moment. But eventually, guess what? Not all the drugs and the alcohol is going to be able to help you out of this one when it comes back to bite you in the butt. And trust and believe when I say it will, because it did with me. And I know a few other people that it's done it with. You know, it came back and hit them in the butt. You know, it got up in their face and they're like, hey, you need to deal with me. You got to deal with me. You know, I still suffer, but I don't suffer as much. I got the tools, I got my medication, I got my therapy, I got my support system. So whenever I'm feeling some type of way, I can pick up a phone, you know? And see, with me, this is the funny thing because in rehab, the first thing they do is one of the first questions they ask you is, what are your hobbies? I'm like, well, what the hell hobbies got to do with my mental illness? What that got to do with the price of tea in China? Mm. But I get it now. I get it. It does have a lot to do with it because I do arts and crafts. And what it does, it keeps me from being in my head and it relaxes me. Therapeutic. I'm at a calm and a peace when I do my arts and crafts, which is my hobby. So now I understand why they ask that question if you have hobbies. What are your hobbies? Because whatever your hobbies are, it can be very therapeutic to you and it can help you a great deal. You know, I do arts and crafts all the time, every day, all day. You know, I just discovered Cricket Joy. I'm having a blast with that. You know, because I'm trying to put together something that I can um help bring this topic to the forefront. Which is why I do lives, which is why I upload videos talking about destigmatizing mental health because this is a problem. And if we don't do something, we're going to be in a load of trouble. And the way you do it is to educate people. Is try and educate people and let them know that this is not a contagion. You just don't get it like you get the common cold or the flu. And the funny thing about it is the people that, and I noticed that the people that doing the judging, Probably ones that have mental health in their family too, and they just turning a blind eye to it. You can't ignore this problem. It's not going to go away. You know, we need to learn how to deal with it, as a whole, you know, stop stigmatizing, stop pointing fingers, stop murmuring. Because I can almost guarantee you, if we go into your family, we could probably see some schizophrenias and some bipolars and some personality disorders and some narcissists going on up in there, you know. But the thing is, the ones that realize it and get help, they the brave ones. We the brave ones. We the courageous ones, you know? But now I'm taking this a step further. I'm trying to get it out there that enough is enough, people. Enough is enough. This is a serious situation. With all that we've just been through and still going through, actually, the pandemic and everything else. I ain't gonna say no names because I don't know how much of them. But, you know, and everything else that's taking place. The pandemic, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. This is, uh, mm, you know, and if I got to be that voice to bring it to the people and say, look, you can't overlook this. You cannot sweep this under the rug. You cannot ignore it. Because you ignoring it doesn't mean it don't exist. You know, I can ignore you all day long, but it don't mean you don't exist. It means I'm trying not to see you. You know, this mental health is not to be, we can't keep just ignoring it. We can't keep just sweeping it under the rug. How many people are going to lose their lives? How many people are getting hurt behind not getting help that they need because they so afraid of what the next person is thinking? This is my passion. This is my drive. And this is what I'm going for because eventually what I'd like to do, because I live in upstate New York. So what I would like to do by next year, you know, maybe at the end of summer, beginning of fall, maybe do like a walk run thing in Central Park, bringing awareness to the stigma of mental health, you know, this is my goal to get this done. I'm creating a website, I'm creating t-shirts, I'm creating mugs, I'm going to create sweatshirts and masks and everything else. I'm going to create a nice little website where all of this can take place. Because I'm pushing, and I'm going to continue to push until I can't push no more. You know, this is a conversation that needs to be had, it needs to be addressed, and it really needs to be addressed now. I mean, I will be the mouthpiece if need be. And right now, I am the mouthpiece. I'm not a celebrity, I'm not a superstar. I'm just a person who deals with mental health issues, and I'm tired of getting that feeling of accountability when I tell people that I deal with PTSD or bipolar, you know, or after every relationship, I feel like I'm broke. I feel like I'm not even whole. I'm tired of it. Now it's time for me to step up. If I need to be that voice, I'm going to be that voice for everybody and anybody out there that's sick and suffering from mental illness, that's not getting help because of, the stigma behind it. I'll be your voice if need be. I will take that on, you know, because this is not right. And a lot of people is getting hurt behind untreated people with mental illness. People are getting hurt, people getting killed. I mean, it's like, come on, people, you know? So let me be that voice, and also to let people know they're still out there suffering. You're not alone. Sweetheart, you're not alone. Other people deal with this. I deal with it. And a lot of other people deal with it. And so we're going to deal with this. We are going to deal with this. And I'm going to take it as far as I can. You know, if you sick and suffering, please go get help. Don't walk around untreated. Please go get help. If nobody else says it, I'ma say it. You're loved. People care. Go get help. It's okay to not be okay. You don't have to be happy and friendly 24 hours, 365, 7 days a week. You know? I mean, I, I act like I'm happy. But even I have my moments. We're all entitled to our moments. So my message to those out there that's still out there sick and suffering, please, please seek help. You know, I would love to see you make it. Get the help. And if anybody say anything to you about it, if anybody tell them, screw you. I'm taking care of myself. It's called self-love. And on that note, I'm going to end the live. And I will be up again next week. Live again. So with that all being said, everybody take care, stay safe, stay blessed. People out there that suffering, please just go get help. Please. And on that note, I love you guys. Have a nice night.